The Judean desert stretched before them, a tapestry of sun-baked sand and ancient rock. A team of archaeologists, driven by a thirst for knowledge, meticulously surveyed the barren landscape. Their tools, brushes and picks seemed insignificant against the weight of centuries. Little did they know they were on the verge of a discovery that would send shockwaves through the world of biblical scholarship. It began with a whisper, a rumor amongst local Bedouins of a hidden cave, untouched for millennia. Intrigued, the archaeologists ventured deeper into the labyrinthine canyons, their hopes a flickering flame against the vast emptiness. The air hung heavy with anticipation as they finally located the cave, its entrance concealed by a curtain of crumbling rock. Carefully they began their work. Each stone removed a prayer whispered into the silence. The sunlight, piercing through the newly created opening, illuminated a sight that stopped their hearts. There, nestled amidst broken pottery and the dust of ages, lay a collection of ancient scrolls. The archaeologists exchanged awestruck glances, their eyes reflecting the magnitude of their find. These scrolls, seemingly untouched by time, held the potential to rewrite history, to offer a glimpse into a world shrouded in mystery. As they carefully lifted the scrolls, their fingers traced the faded ink, a tangible link to the past. Whispers from the past, the promise of untold stories. Among the trove of scrolls, one stood out, its script bearing the unmistakable mark of a common tongue, the language of fishermen and laborers. This, the archaeologists surmised, was the testament of Simon, known to history as Peter, the rock upon which Jesus would build his church. The scroll, penned in a hand calloused by years of hauling nets and battling storms, promised an intimate glimpse into the heart of a man forever changed by his encounter with Jesus. It was a voice raw and unfiltered, far removed from the polished pronouncements of theologians and scholars. Here was Peter, not the apostle, not the saint, but the fisherman from Galilee, a man of flesh and blood, with doubts and fears, hopes and dreams. The archaeologists, their own beliefs momentarily suspended in the face of such a profound discovery, felt a sense of responsibility weigh upon them. The scroll, fragile with age, held within its folds not just words, but the very essence of a life lived in the shadow of the divine. As they began the painstaking process of translation, they were acutely aware that they were stepping not just into history, but into the sacred space of personal faith. The words, as they emerged from the veil of centuries, were simple yet profound, filled with the salt of the sea and the grit of everyday life in first-century Galilee. Peter, in his unadorned prose, painted a vivid picture of a world on the cusp of change, a world teeming with anticipation and unrest.
Nets and Doubts, the Life of a Galilean Fisherman.
Among the scrolls, more delicate in script, more intimate in tone, lay the words of Mary Magdalene, a woman whose life and devotion to Jesus had been shrouded in centuries of speculation and misunderstanding. Her scroll, penned with an eloquence that belied her humble origins, promised a glimpse into the heart of a woman who had walked through the fires of adversity and emerged through her faith transformed.
The archaeologists, humbled by the privilege of reading such personal accounts, approached Mary's scroll with reverence, their hearts attuned to the nuances of her experience. Here was a woman who had known darkness, who had grappled with demons both internal and external. Yet, through it all, her faith in Jesus shone through a beacon of hope amidst the storms of life.
The archaeologists, as they delved deeper into her story, were struck by the depth of her devotion, the unwavering loyalty that had marked her relationship with Jesus. Mary's words, imbued with a quiet strength, challenged the patriarchal interpretations that had long colored her story. They read of her unwavering support for Jesus' ministry, her presence at his side during his darkest hours. Shadows and Light, a life shrouded in misconceptions.
Amidst the scrolls, distinct in its formal script and disciplined hand, lay the account of a Roman centurion, a man whose life had been dedicated to order, duty, and the unyielding power of Rome. His chronicle, written with the precision of a military report, offered a starkly different perspective on the events that had unfolded in Jerusalem.
The archaeologists, accustomed to the emotionally charged narratives of the disciples, were struck by the centurion's detached tone, his words measured, his observations devoid of overt sentimentality. Here was a man trained to observe, to analyze, to report facts without embellishment. Yet even in his clinical account, a hint of something deeper emerged, a flicker of awe, a subtle shift in perspective that hinted at a profound inner transformation.
The archaeologists, their curiosity piqued, leaned closer, eager to decipher the enigma of the centurion's faith. His scroll, devoid of the fervent proclamations of the disciples, held a different kind of power, the power of a witness forced to confront the inexplicable.
Order and duty defined the life of a soldier in Judea. Every day was a test of discipline and loyalty, a constant reminder of the empire's expectations. We were the enforcers of Roman law, the keepers of peace, in a land often resistant to our presence. Our lives were a blend of rigorous training and unwavering obedience, a relentless cycle of command and compliance. Yet, amidst the order, there was a sense of purpose, a belief that we were upholding the might and glory of Rome.
The centurion's narrative shifted, his disciplined script gaining a hint of urgency as he recounted his first direct encounter with Jesus. A simple request, a plea for healing, had brought Jesus to the centurion's doorstep.
I was accustomed to issuing commands, but I found myself disarmed by the quiet authority of the rabbi, the palpable aura of compassion that surrounded him. Jesus, without hesitation, agreed to help, his gaze filled with a depth of empathy that I had never encountered in my years of military service.
The encounter, brief though it was, left an indelible mark on the centurion's soul. He had witnessed firsthand the power of Jesus' words, the genuine concern that radiated from him. It was a stark contrast to the calculated indifference of Roman officials, the casual brutality that was often the norm.
Doubts, like cracks in a fortress wall, began to appear in my carefully constructed worldview. I had always believed that strength lay in power, in the ability to command and control. Yet, here stood Jesus, a man seemingly without worldly power, and yet possessing an authority far greater than any emperor. Witnessing the crucifixion, I felt a profound shift within me. As Jesus hung on the cross, his words of forgiveness and compassion pierced through the hardened exterior of my soldier's heart. It was as if the divine had touched my soul, challenging everything I thought I knew. In that moment, I realized that true strength lay not in power or control, but in love and sacrifice. My heart, once bound by duty and order, began to change, opening to the possibility of a higher truth, a deeper understanding of faith and humanity. Faith and duty reconciling belief with obedience. A legacy of transformation, the ripple effect of belief.
To truly grasp the weight of these newly discovered scrolls, we must journey back to the tumultuous world of first-century Judea, a land simmering under the iron grip of the Roman Empire. Tiberius Caesar, the emperor in Rome, held sway over a vast domain, his legions enforcing Pax Romana, the Roman peace, through a combination of military might and strategic alliances. Judea, a small province on the fringes of the empire, was no exception. Roman governors, often more concerned with maintaining order than dispensing justice, ruled with an iron fist, their presence a constant reminder of Roman dominance. The Jewish people, fiercely independent and deeply devoted to their faith, chafed under Roman rule. Their laws, their customs, their very way of life seemed under constant threat. from a culture that worshipped power and military conquest. The collection of taxes, often exorbitant and unfairly levied, was a source of constant resentment, fueling a deep-seated anger that simmered beneath the surface of daily life. The presence of Roman soldiers patrolling the streets of Jerusalem, a constant reminder of their subjugation, only served to exacerbate these tensions. Yet within this pressure cooker of political and religious tension, a different kind of revolution was brewing. Jesus of Nazareth, a charismatic preacher from the backwaters of Galilee, was captivating the hearts and minds of the people with his message of love, forgiveness, and radical compassion. Section 2, Religious and Political Ferment, a Cauldron of Unrest. The scrolls, unearthed from the Judean desert, offered a glimpse into a society riven by religious and political factions, each vying for power and influence. The Pharisees, known for their strict adherence to Jewish law and their emphasis on personal piety, represented one strand of Jewish thought. They sought to live lives of ritual purity, meticulously observing the Sabbath and the dietary laws, and their interpretations of Scripture held considerable sway among the common people. The Sadducees, often portrayed as the more aristocratic and worldly faction, held considerable power within the temple hierarchy. They collaborated with the Roman authorities, seeing in Roman rule a means of maintaining their own privileged position. Their focus on temple rituals and their rejection of certain Pharisaic beliefs, such as the resurrection of the dead, set them apart from their fellow Jews and further fueled the fires of division within Jewish society. The Essenes, a more reclusive sect, had retreated to the Judean desert, seeking spiritual purity and a life apart from the corruption they perceived in Jerusalem. Their ascetic practices and their belief in communal living, as exemplified by the Dead Sea Scrolls found at Qumran, reflected a deep yearning for a return to a more authentic form of Judaism. The discovery of their writings had already revolutionized scholarly understanding of Second Temple Judaism, and now these new scrolls promise to add yet another layer to the complex tapestry of Jewish life in the 1st century. Section 3. The Shadow of Herod, a Legacy of Ruthlessness and Power. Looming large over this volatile landscape was the shadow of Herod the Great, a cunning and ruthless ruler who had secured his throne through a combination of political maneuvering and brutal repression. Though Herod had died decades before Jesus began his ministry, his legacy of paranoia and violence cast a long shadow over Judea. His sons, who inherited portions of his kingdom, continued his policies of oppression, further alienating the Jewish population and fueling the flames of unrest. Herod's massive building projects, while intended to showcase his power and enhance his prestige, also served as a constant reminder of Roman influence and the subjugation of the Jewish people. The temple in Jerusalem, Herod's crowning achievement, stood as a symbol of both Jewish identity and Roman domination, a potent reminder of the precarious balance of power in Judea. The presence of Roman troops stationed throughout the province to maintain order and quell any hint of rebellion only served to exacerbate the tensions simmering beneath the surface. The archaeologists, as they studied the historical records, recognized the profound impact of Herod's reign on the psyche of the Jewish people. Herod's brutality, coupled with the ever-present threat of Roman reprisals, created an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. In such a climate, any challenge to the established order, whether religious or political, was met with swift and often brutal repression. The scrolls, with their first-hand accounts of individuals living under the weight of this oppressive regime, promised to provide a visceral understanding of the daily realities faced by those who dared to challenge the status quo. For the dream of an independent Jewish state. The Zealots, though a minority within Jewish society, exerted an outsized influence on the political landscape. Their clandestine activities, their willingness to resort to violence, and their fiery rhetoric struck a chord with many Jews who yearned for an end to Roman rule. Their presence, though often hidden, served as a constant reminder of the potential for violence to erupt, keeping the Roman authorities on edge and further fueling the cycle of repression and rebellion. The archaeologists, as they delved into the complexities of the Zealot movement, recognized the difficult choices faced by Jesus and his followers. The Zealots, with their message of armed resistance, offered a tempting alternative to Jesus' message of love and non-violent resistance. The scrolls, with their intimate portrayals of individuals grappling with these competing ideologies, promised to shed light on the internal debates and moral dilemmas that shaped the early Christian movement as it sought to define its relationship to both Roman power and Jewish resistance. Section 5. The significance of the letters, first-hand accounts from a turbulent time. The scrolls unearthed from the Judean desert offered a window into the hearts and minds of individuals who had walked with Jesus and witnessed his miracles. These were raw, unfiltered accounts filled with the immediacy of lived experience. Peter, the fisherman, emerged as a man of deep faith but also plagued by doubts. Mary Magdalene spoke with newfound clarity, her story a testament to the transformative power of Jesus' message. These letters painted a vivid portrait of a world on the cusp of change. These scrolls were voices from the past, reminding us of the enduring power of faith, hope, and love.
As I sit here contemplating these ancient stories, I'm struck by how deeply human they are, how relatable their struggles remain. Peter, the fisherman, wrestling with doubt, reminds me that faith is a journey, often fraught with uncertainty. His vulnerability makes his transformation powerful, a testament to human growth. And then there's Mary Magdalene, her story a reminder of compassion and forgiveness. Misunderstood and marginalized, her voice emerges with strength and clarity. Her unwavering devotion to Jesus, even in adversity, speaks to the depth of her faith, transcending societal norms. Her story challenges me to confront my biases, to recognize the dignity of every human being. Even the Roman centurion found his worldview challenged by Jesus. His journey underscores the universal appeal of Jesus' message, transcending cultural and religious boundaries, speaking to a deeper longing for justice and compassion. His story reminds me that transformation is possible for anyone, regardless of their background or beliefs, if they are open to questioning, to seeing the world through a different lens. These ancient voices, whispering across the centuries, remind me that the struggles we face today, doubt, fear, uncertainty, are not new. They are part of the human condition, woven into the very fabric of our being. But these stories also offer hope, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggles. They point to a path forward, a path illuminated by faith, compassion, and a willingness to embrace the unknown with courage and an open heart. It's easy to relegate these stories to the realm of history, to view them as interesting artifacts of a bygone era. But to do so is to miss their profound relevance to our own lives, to the challenges we face in our own time. The world may have changed dramatically since Jesus walked the dusty roads of Galilee, but the human heart, with its capacity for both great love and unimaginable cruelty, remains remarkably unchanged. The message of love and compassion that Jesus preached, a message echoed in the lives of his followers, is as urgent and necessary today as it was 2,000 years ago. In a world often riven by conflict, divided by ideology, and driven by fear and greed, we need this message more than ever. We need to be reminded that we are all interconnected, that our actions have consequences, and that true peace and justice begin with a fundamental shift in our hearts. The scrolls, with their intimate glimpses into the lives of those who walked with Jesus, challenge us to look beyond the simplistic narratives, the sanitized versions of history that often dominate our understanding of the past. They invite us to grapple with the complexities of faith, to confront the uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our world, and to emerge from that process transformed. They remind us that faith is not about blind acceptance, but about asking difficult questions, wrestling with doubt, and seeking truth with courage and an open mind. These ancient stories, far from being irrelevant relics of the past, offer a roadmap for navigating the challenges of our own time. They remind us that the human spirit is capable of great resilience, that love has the power to heal even the deepest wounds, and that hope can flourish even in the darkest of times. They call us to action, not just to read their words, but to embody their message in our own lives, to be instruments of peace, justice, and compassion in a world that desperately needs these qualities. If there is one overarching theme that emerges from these scrolls, it is the transformative power of love. Jesus' message, a radical departure from the legalistic interpretations of his day, centered on love as the guiding principle for all of life. It was a love that transcended societal boundaries, embraced the marginalized, and challenged the powerful. It was a love that demanded justice, sought reconciliation, and offered forgiveness even in the face of betrayal and violence. This message of love resonated deeply with those who encountered Jesus, igniting a fire in their hearts and inspiring them to live differently. Peter, the fisherman, transformed from a man prone to impulsivity and doubt into a rock of faith, his life a testament to the power of love to heal and redeem. Mary Magdalene, once shrouded in darkness, emerged as a beacon of light, her unwavering devotion to Jesus a testament to the transformative power of love to empower and liberate. Even the Roman Centurion, a product of a culture that glorified power and conquest, found his heart softened by Jesus' message of love. His conversion, a testament to the universal appeal of love's transformative power, reminds us that even those deeply entrenched in systems of oppression can change, can choose compassion over cruelty, love over hate. In a world often driven by fear, greed, and the pursuit of power, the message of love, embodied in the life and teachings of Jesus, offers a radical alternative, a path to healing. Section 4. A Call to Action, Living the Teachings. As we conclude our journey through these remarkable scrolls, we are left not just with a sense of awe and wonder, but also with a profound sense of responsibility. These ancient voices, whispering across the centuries, challenge us to do more than just admire their faith from a distance. They call us to embody the teachings of Jesus in our own lives, to be the change we wish to see in the world. What would it look like to live as Peter, Mary Magdalene, and the Roman Centurion lived, to allow Jesus' message of love and compassion to guide our thoughts, words, and actions? It would mean confronting injustice wherever we find it, speaking out against oppression, and standing up for the marginalized and the vulnerable. It would mean choosing forgiveness over vengeance, extending grace even to those who have wronged us, and building bridges of understanding across divides of religion, culture, and ideology. It would mean living lives of radical generosity, sharing our resources with those in need, and working tirelessly to create a world where everyone has access to food, shelter, healthcare, and education. It would mean being peacemakers in our families, our communities, and our world, seeking reconciliation, fostering dialogue, and promoting understanding. It would mean living lives of integrity, honesty, and compassion, reflecting the love of Jesus in all that we do. The scrolls unearthed from the Judean desert are not just ancient artifacts. They are a call to action, a challenge to live up to the ideals they espouse. Let us not shy away from this challenge, but embrace it with open hearts and courageous spirits. Let us be the generation that takes Jesus' message of love and compassion to heart, transforming our world one act of kindness, one word of forgiveness, one step towards justice at a time. The future of our world may very well depend on it.
Section 1. The enduring message, a timeless legacy. The echoes of Jesus' life and teachings resonate through the ages, their power undiminished by time. These scrolls remind us of his enduring legacy, inspiring and transforming lives today. They speak to a truth that transcends cultural and historical boundaries. The message of love, compassion, and forgiveness remains as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. In a world often torn apart by conflict, these ancient words offer a beacon of hope. They remind us that true strength lies in the courage to embrace vulnerability and meet hatred with love. Section 2. A Journey of Faith, from Ancient Scrolls to Modern Hearts. The journey from ancient scrolls to modern hearts shows faith's enduring power, connecting us to seekers and believers of the past. These stories remind us we're part of a larger narrative, one that began long before us and will continue after us. The doubts and hopes of those from Jesus' time are similar to ours. We also grapple with faith and uncertainty, seeking our place in a divided world. Yet the scrolls offer hope, reminding us we're not alone. They point to a path forward, illuminated by faith and compassion. The message of love from these scrolls is a call to action, inviting us to heal and reconcile. It calls us to build bridges, stand up for the marginalized, and be instruments of peace, to embody Jesus' teachings, letting love guide our actions. Reflecting on these scrolls' impact, we see their personal dimension. These texts are personal accounts of faith, doubt, and love. They invite us to embark on our own faith journeys, discovering love's transformative power within us. Section 3. A Call to Action, Embracing the Light Within. The scrolls, unearthed from their ancient slumber, have illuminated not just the past, but also the path forward. They challenge us to move beyond the passive role of observer and embrace the active role of participant in the ongoing story of faith, hope, and love. They remind us that we are not simply inheritors of a tradition, but also its caretakers, entrusted with the responsibility of carrying its flame into the future. Let us not shy away from this responsibility, but embrace it with open hearts and courageous spirits. Let us be the generation that takes the teachings of Jesus to heart, not just in word, but in deed, transforming our world one act of kindness, one word of forgiveness, one step towards justice at a time. The future of our world may very well depend on it. As we go forth from this place, let us carry the message of the scrolls within us, etched not just on parchment, but on our very souls. Let us be beacons of love, compassion, and hope in a world that desperately needs these qualities. Let us be the change we wish to see, the embodiment of the teachings that have inspired and challenged humanity for centuries. The journey ahead may be long, and the challenges may seem daunting, but let us never forget the words of Jesus himself. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. John 8:12. May we all strive to walk in that light, to let it illuminate our paths, and to share its warmth with all those we encounter on our journeys. The scrolls, unearthed from the dust of ages, have reminded us of the enduring power of faith, hope, and love. Now it is up to us to ensure that their message continues to resonate for generations to come. Let us go forth and be the light.